On the news, former Aviation Minister Hadi Sira pleads not guilty to 2.7 billion naira fraud charges, gets 100 million naira bail. Rivers Governor Fubara's ally Victor Jumbo elected as factional Speaker of State Assembly. And Senate approves death penalty for drug traffickers. Thank you for joining us on News Now. I'm Simisola Atiku. A federal high court in Abuja has granted 100 million naira bail each to former Minister of Aviation Hadi Sira and 3 others who are being tried for alleged fraud to the tune of 2.7 billion naira. Sira was arraigned before Justice Sylvanus Orji at the Federal High Court in Abuja, along with his daughter Fatima, his son-in-law Jalal Sulehama, and the firm Al Burak Global Investments Limited. Following their denial of the fraud charges, their respective lawyers moved applications for their bail, which was granted by the judge. Justice Orji ordered that the defendants be remanded in prison custody if they failed to meet their bail conditions. The trial is billed to commence on the 10th, 11th, and 20th of June 2024.
One of the 2 cases filed against the former minister. So the first one is taken before his lordship here. So we are going to contend for the other one in another date. So, but the bail is at the discretion of the court. So it's for the court to decide whether it is adequate or not. So a counsel in his own right cannot criticize the judge whether the conditions are liberal or high or low. But I think it is fair. Well, there are other issues that were introduced, like the Nigerian Airways with Ethiopia something, which we added to it. So it was not there originally, but Nigerian Air matter is there are 2 counts on it. That's why we amended it. On condition that one of the surety must own property in Abuja and must deposit some money out or bond and all those things. So I don't think it's strenuous. It's a condition that is unfair. It's very fair to them.
The political crisis in Rivers State has taken a whole new twist as 4 members of the State House of Assembly, loyal to Governor Siminalayi Fubara, has elected the member representing Boni constituency, Victor Oko Jumbo, as the new speaker for the entire 32-member assembly. Oko Jumbo, who is one of the 4 lawmakers loyal to Fubara in the wake of the political crisis in the state, was elected on Wednesday and, according to them, in line with the standing order of the House. In his acceptance speech, Oko Jumbo thanked the other 3 members of his faction for electing him as the new speaker, sequel to the resignation of former Speaker Edison Ehie. He called on the executive and the judiciary as well as the public to disregard every law purportedly enacted by the Amai Wule-led assembly, describing it as an exercise in futility.
To another legislative day, we will brief the press. We will communicate our proceedings to the public and engage them. We will make sure that they are part of what we are doing to ensure that there is transparency and clarity in the 10th Legislative Assembly. Well, I have already directed the clerk to notify His Excellency the Governor that a new leadership has emerged in the Rivers State House of Assembly and that we are ready to work for Rivers people.
Well, to speak on this development further, legal expert Libero Soshoma joins me on the news. Thank you for your time, sir. Now, how legal is it for just 4 speakers to sit down, members of the House rather, to sit down and decide that one of them will serve as the factional speaker of the entire Rivers State House of Assembly?
Yeah, I think it's a mockery of democracy. I really don't know how, 4 people can just sit down in a house of 31 members. 4 people just sit down and say they have elected one person as a speaker. I don't think, even though Section 101 of the Constitution clearly states that once you cross carpets, you lose your seat, provided you can show that there is crisis in your party, or that the cross carpet is as a result of a merger between two parties. But I think they have passed that stage because when this crisis first started, I think Mr. President also intervened. After the intervention of Mr. President, all parties were asked to sheathe their sword and then return to status quo. And that led to Edison Ehige resigning to become the chief of staff. And then this current speaker, who has been the speaker anyway, back to his seat. And it is also clear that the person that can declare the seat of any member who cross-carpet vacant is the speaker. And so in the event that the speaker is one of those who cross-carpeted and has not declared any seat vacant, you can no longer be talking about vacancy in a seat because these four members are still relying on their Hide's, sitting that had, or house that had been overtaken by events. So I think this is a mockery of democracy, a mockery of constitutional law, a mockery of legislative at the State House of Assembly. And I don't think, this is what we bargain for when we embrace democracy. But all said, I also think that the warring parties, the elders in the state, should call the warring parties to order because it is the ordinary people that will suffer. In the absence of a duly constituted State House of Assembly, everything done would be a nullity. And, it is the ordinary people that will suffer. So the elders of the state across party line, and then the elders in the party, the PDP and the APC, should call all warring parties to order to sheathe their sword. And Wike and his people also can wait for a second term for Fubara to, in the event that, instead of, they can wait for a second term for Fubara and deny him a second term through the ballot. Instead of all these attempts at trying to turn, constitutional democracy on its head. And Fubara and his people also should also, even though he has the support of his, ethnic group, they also should tread softly so as not to, make a mockery of our democracy. And it is not healthy at all because, mind you, he's in a political party different from the president's political party. And he's a godfather, a straight godfather, is serving in the president's camp. And if there is a breakdown of rule and order and a state of emergency is declared by the National Assembly in that state, people are certainly going to blame Mr. President for that. So I think it's on that note that the elders of the state should come together and see how they can intervene at the stage.
All right, now briefly, what impact do you think this latest development will have on the political scene in Rivers State in terms of governance, stability and development initiatives?
What it basically means is that nothing will be happening in that state. As we speak, we're still talking about a budget that was passed by 5 members. It's an aberration. It is a mockery of budgetary in Nigeria. We're still talking about that budget. And today, now, you have another travesty of justice. You have 4 members sitting down somewhere and proclaiming one amongst them as member. And the press are giving vent to it by even addressing him as a factional speaker. So what that means is that, the governor is consistently going to be looking, behind his back. Activities of governance will take a second seat. The lawmakers will certainly be looking at whether anything they are doing, it's in line with constitutionality or not. So all of this will affect governance in the state. That's why I think that all warring parties, no matter the grievance, no matter what's at stake, for the benefit and for the good governance of the ordinary people of Rivers State, it will be better for them to, resolve their differences and wait for the next election instead of all of these shenanigans and shameful or outrageous display of irresponsibility that we see, that is going on among both parties. But quickly, I must say this. If you remember, during Amechi's time, you had Evans BP, he led a 5-member of the House and attempted to impeach the president. Those people who are criticizing who were criticizing Evans BP then are the ones supporting this shenanigans going on by this what you call factional speaker today. And those that criticized, that supported him then are the ones that are criticizing today. So it's on the flip side. You see, Nigeria is a case of absurdity. When it favors anybody, that's when you hear people criticize. And when it doesn't favor them, they criticize. When it favors them, they support it. But if we have to talk about the implication for Rivers people, and then it's a sad one for them. It's a sad day for democracy in Rivers State, and the man sitting in Abuja also should be called to order, and his supporters, all those people he claimed he bought funds for, should, for the benefits of good governance, allow governments to flow freely in Rivers State.
Our legal expert, Liberal Soshoma, thank you very much for doing justice to this topic. Moving on, the Central Bank of Nigeria's CBN's implementation of a 0.5% cybersecurity fee on all bank transactions has generated reactions among Nigerians. Residents in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, have expressed their dissatisfaction, emphasizing that the current economic downturn and a number of fees are making banking transactions more expensive for citizens. TV360's Emeka Mako files the report from Abuja.
Controversy has trailed the introduction of the 0.5% cybercrime levy on all electronic transactions as Nigerians from various walks of life have kicked against the move, urging the federal government to clarify grey aspects of the law authorizing the levy. While describing the levy as another covert tax on the masses, residents of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, have called for a comprehensive review and more consultation with key stakeholders.
What is the business of the consumer with that of the central bank when they actually have their subordinate, which is the commercial bank, that they get direct remittals from? So for individuals, and in the terms of the inflation happening right now, I think it's really unbearable. And they are actually trying to tell us that we don't need to put money in the bank again. We should actually be self-saving.
The country at the moment is bleeding. A lot of challenges befalling the country at the moment. So I think that the central bank should be very, very sensitive enough to the mood of the country. We have been overburdened.
Concerns were raised about the state of the economy, which has been badly battered by a number of policies which they say have not had desired effects as Nigerians struggle to cope with the current economic situation.
We have too many levies. The bank charges are so much. Introducing cybersecurity levy will become another killer on Nigerians. Can't the government look for somewhere else to source for that levy to fund cybersecurity? Must it be Nigerians that will pay for it? Even if we are paying for it, can't they pick it from the already existing levies we've been charged already?
So if you have a system, it must be secure. Why are you now charging people for something that should already be secure? Something that normally should be secure. It's just like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You put your profile there, but you don't pay for your profile. Though yes, it's not so secure, but still, this is a bank we are talking about. These are banks we are talking about. It should be secure. Now, normally it should be secure. We shouldn't pay for that security because technically that is why we are putting our money there, because we already have trust in them that it is secure. But for you to now tell us that you want us to pay for that security again, I think it's very unfair.
The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, and the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, have asked that the directive be withdrawn in the light of many criticisms that have followed it. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has directed the CBN to halt the implementation of the cybercrime levy based on wrong timing.
A bill seeking to impose a death penalty on those convicted of drug trafficking has passed the third reading at the Senate. The upper legislative chamber passed the bill on Thursday after Senator representing Borno North, Tahir Monguno, presented a report on behalf of the Joint Committees on Judiciary and Drugs and Narcotics. While presenting the report, Monguno said there is a need to strengthen the war against drugs in the country. After the report was presented, the Senate merged with the Committee of the Whole to consider clauses of the bill. A Nigerian coalition of media and civil society groups, the Action Group on the Protection of Civic Actors, has protested the continued detention of a journalist with the Foundation for Investigative Journalism, Daniel Ojukwu, calling for his freedom. The arrest of Ojukwu, who was later transferred to the Nigerian capital, Abuja, followed his report about alleged financial mismanagement of over 147 million naira involving a senior government official, and his continued detention has elicited calls for his freedom. On Thursday, the coalition stormed the force headquarters in Abuja to press for Ojukwu's release. Addressing journalists during the protest, the spokesperson of the group, Buki Shonibare, says the recent surge in attacks on press freedom and the silencing of dissenting voices is becoming alarming.
Mr. Daniel Ojukwu, if he has been accused of a crime, should be promptly charged and given a fair trial under Nigerian law, which presumes innocent until proven guilty. As such, his continued detention is equivalent to an extrajudicial trial and punishment.
Exactly.
It is in the Inspector General of Police interest to offer opportunities for the international community to rate the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration's compliance and respect for its fundamental human rights commitment positive. Premised on the above, we demand the following. 1. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, ensures Daniel's immediate release and uphold his fundamental human rights.
Daniel was unlawfully arrested and is unlawfully detained because he wrote a story. He's not a criminal. The valid information in the reports basically looks at what he has written. Somebody used 147 million naira to implement a project from government funds, from the funds which are from the taxes of Nigerians. Daniel has just taken that information and written and validated that information that the project that was implemented is nowhere to be found.
I will communicate to them, and I believe that appropriate action will be taken. Please, I really appreciate the way you people came in, and I want you to go back in peace and without people hijacking this situation to commit other crimes.
The Lagos State Special Offences Court in Ikeja has resumed sitting for defense to study additional proof of evidence submitted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) against former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Counsel to the EFCC, Henry Omoile, said the count against Emefiele are not just about award of contracts but about gratifications allegedly received. Countering the prosecution, counsel to Emefiele said all required documents have been presented and attested to. After listening to both sides, the judge ordered that Emefiele be remanded till the next adjourned date, Thursday, May 17, when the court will give its ruling on the bail application. We'll take a short break, but coming up, Boeing 737 crashes during takeoff in Senegal, 11 persons injured. Stay with us for details. Welcome back. Here's a recap of our top stories. A federal high court in Abuja has granted 100 million naira bail each to former Minister of Aviation Hadi Sira and 3 others who are being tried for alleged fraud to the tune of 2.7 billion naira. Sira was arraigned before Justice Sylvanus Origi at the Federal High Court in Abuja, along with his daughter Fatima, his son-in-law Jalal Sulehama, and the firm Al Burak Global Investment Limited. The trial is billed to commence on the 10th, 11th and 20th of June 2024. We also told you that 4 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly loyal to Governor Siminalayi Fubara have elected the member representing Boni constituency, Victor Okojumbo, as the new speaker for the entire 32-member assembly. Okojumbo, who is one of the 4 lawmakers loyal to Fubara in the wake of the political crisis in the state, was elected on Wednesday, and according to them, the 4 members is in line with the standing order of the House. In case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV, or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook or at TV360 Online. Well, it's time for business news with Joy Uchejim. What's the latest, Joy?
Thank you, Simi. Well, it's good news as the Lagos State government says it is committed to establishing the state as an organized food system and value chain destination. The Commissioner for Agriculture, Abisola Olusanya, made this known at the ongoing ministerial press briefing at Alausa to present the scorecard of the Sanwo-Olu's administration in the first year of the second term in office. She also said the Lagos State government is committed towards achieving its aims and objectives on its development of a 5-year agricultural and food systems roadmap, which is from 2021 to 2025, as well as the Food Security Systems Policy Document.
A support, or rather a grant to very micro traders of food, and we were able to implement this on February 14th of this year to 15,000 market men and women across Lagos. 750 of them were picked from the various police barracks and army cantonments. And I would like to say that this was an initiative of Mr. Governor, that obviously it took Lagos unawares, but the people were rightfully selected. They were, I mean, you are talking about tabletop traders and people who needed the support, and as such, we were able to give out grants of 50,000 naira to 15,000 of these women. Going back to the middle level hubs, and like I said, it is not to displace existing markets, but rather to draw them in to utilize that space. What we have also seen is, like any human psychology, it takes a bit of time for people to unlearn bad habits and to imbibe good ones. So for that reason, since we opened the Mushin Hub, we have actually been running a sensitization program every fortnightly for market men and women, for traders of food. And essentially what we have been doing is to showcase new ways, better ways of food hygiene, of food trade, of display, of packaging, of storage, so that the market men and women also understand that there's a better way to trade where your margins are secure, where your food produce will continue to be wholesome, and where you can sell under the right conditions and even extrapolate what your profit will be.
We'll take a short break and be back with stock market reports. Welcome back. Nigeria's equities market recorded its first win of the week on Thursday, with the all-share index increasing by 0.03%. Now, topping the gainers list is Learn Africa, with a 10% price appreciation, closing at 3 naira 30 kobo. That's a 30 kobo increase, followed by Tantalizers, which ended the day at 0.42 naira. Now, today's market summary on the Nigerian Stock Exchange shows a total of 676 million volumes of shares, which were exchanged in 8,415 deals, corresponding to a market value of over 16 billion naira. Now, compared with the previous NGX trading day, which was Wednesday, May 8th, today's market shows a 112% increase in improvement. And now over to our foreign equities. We see that the FTSE and the Dow Jones ended the day in the bullish trade, as the UK FTSE ended as in 0.33%, while the US Dow Jones ended at 0.51%. However, the Japan's Nikkei could not keep up and slipped into bearish territory as it ended at 0.34%. Now we'll take a quick look at our foreign exchange market. The US dollar traded on the official window at 1,415 naira 10 kobo on the official market, and on the black market it traded at 1,415 naira. Now the Great British Pounds traded at 1,565.90 kobo on the official market and 1,080 naira on the black market. Lastly, the euros traded at 1,521.37 naira on the official market and 1,525 naira on the black market. That's it on both business and stock market reports. Back to you, Simi, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Joy. And on the foreign scene, a Boeing 737 plane which skidded off the runway during takeoff at an airport in Senegal has left 11 persons injured. The country's transport minister, who disclosed this, said the incident happened when the Air Senegal flight operated by Transair went off the tarmac at Blaise Diagne International Airport, which serves the capital, Dakar. The minister has also ordered an investigation into the cause of the incident and apologized to airport passengers whose flights were delayed as a result. In the United States, the House of Representatives has voted overwhelmingly to defeat an effort by Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene to remove Speaker Mike Johnson, a fellow Republican. In an unusual move, Democrats joined Republicans in a 359-43 vote on Wednesday to keep Johnson in his leadership role and stave off further turmoil in the House. The same procedure was used to remove former Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy in October, the first time in U.S. history that the House voted to remove its leader. Finally, on sports, the Nigeria Premier Football League and MPFL has revealed plans to upgrade the minimum wage of players in the league from the current 150,000 naira. Chairman of the MPFL, Gbenga Elegbeleye, pointed out that the current economic situation in Nigeria demands a review of the players' wages. He reiterated the MPFL's commitment to the players' welfare, expressing disappointment that some clubs still pay lower than the 150,000 naira minimum wage benchmark. And still on sports, Kylian Mbappe is set to play his last game for Paris Saint-Germain at the Parc des Princes when they host Toulouse on Sunday in their first outing since being eliminated from the Champions League. PSG's hunt for elusive European glory will go on into another year after they went out in the semi-finals to Borussia Dortmund, a 1-0 loss in Tuesday's second leg at home, sealing a surprise 2-0 aggregate defeat. This means Mbappe will not get the send-off he had hoped for in the Champions League final at Wembley on June 1 and will end his 7-year spell at PSG without ever having won Europe's elite club competition. That's all on news now. Many thanks for watching. See you again next time.